everybody. Welcome back to the Modern Customer Podcast. I'm your host, Blake Morgan. Today, we are talking about customer experience and hospitality with Bashar Wali. Bashar has done every job in a hotel from frying an egg to negotiating a deal, working for Starwood Hotels before, leading acquisitions and development globally at Grand Heritage Hotels. He also spent 15 years as president and CEO of Provenance Hotels, and he grew the company from 5 to 15 hotels, 1,500 team members, expanding the brand with annual revenue of over $150 million. When Bashar isn't traveling in 50 countries in 49 states, he's at home in Portland, Oregon. Today, we are talking about how to create a customer-centric culture. And we all know that hospitality is a microcosm for the world, so we have lessons learned from the hotel that anyone can benefit from. Please enjoy Bashar Wali. Bashar, welcome to the Modern Customer Podcast. Are you in your home base today of Portland, or are you traveling?
I am indeed in the Democratic People's Republic of Portland, Oregon, your neighbor to the north, having come back home last night and leaving tomorrow morning. So I
Oh
am
my
a
God.
nomad at heart, as it were.
Okay, well, let's just start there. I mean, tell us, is most of your work speaking, or are you consulting for hotels, training? What does it look like?
You know, it's interesting, really interesting question. And I love the fact that people don't know what I do because a lot of my public speaking that I do is designed to give back for an industry I love, not infomercial my company. I'm none of the above. I do speak a lot, but I'm not a paid speaker and often refuse payment for speaking. I would describe it as a hotel owner and operator. So I either buy a hotel and operate it, or you own a hotel and you call me to operate your hotel for you. But really at its heart, and that's why I loved your podcast and the subject here, at its heart, we're in the people business. I know it sounds cliche. We're not in the art business or the design business or the marble business or whatever business we're in. We truly are in the people business. And that's why being on the road so much is so important because you've got to shake hands and kiss babies and look someone in the eyes and sit with them for a meal and ask them about their hopes, dreams, and aspirations. And for an industry that has a lot of employee population, we're management intensive, that's where I draw my passion, my inspiration really from the people, guests, employees, partners, bankers, and all of the people I encounter.
I heard you say in your TED Talk that a hotel is just a building with four walls.
Mhm.
So, what are the ways hoteliers can differentiate their offering if a hotel is just a building?
Exactly. Really great point. My neurotic claim to fame as a hotelier is that I never stay in any hotel more than once or one night. So if I'm in Manhattan 3 nights, I move 3 times, never the same hotel twice. I just finished staying in my 250th hotel in Manhattan, and I do this globally, name it, Phuket, Dubai, whatever. And it's funny, people say, what do you remember? What stands out? Like, what makes a hotel special? Kind of consistent with your question. And I always say, my generic answer is I only remember when someone goes out of their way and genuinely underscore gives a damn. The
Yeah.
bar is so low at the end of the day that really what I bring home with me is the interactions I have with other humans. I'll give you an example, and I'm going to call out some hotels here. I've stayed at the Baccarat in New York. Whoop-de-doo. Ask me what kind of flooring material is in the bathroom. I don't know. It's not important. It was nice, right? Luxury hotel was nice. Sure, there's crystal everywhere. But if there's not an interaction, because I don't take the marble with me, I don't take the crystal with me. Maybe I steal a towel at the end of the day. That's the extent of the physical thing I bring back with me. But it's really that moment of interacting with someone who helps me truly believe that I, as an individual, matter. So what I tell hoteliers is unfortunately we've gotten away from our core business and we've gotten into the design business and the branding business and the Instagrammable moments business and the shock and awe business. When at the end of the day, the only business we're in is being your home away from home, making you feel like you belong.
Mm-hmm.
So the interesting angle also here in that same vernacular is I say, damn the mobile stars and forget the AAA diamonds and the hell with the Michelin keys
Yeah.
because all of those are really focusing. Yes, they take service into account, but they're focusing on how many square feet is your room? Do you have five fixture bathrooms, etc.? I say there's really truly only two kinds of hotels in the world. It's either
Okay.
memorable or forgettable. And you kind of take that concept and you think about a coffee is memorable or forgettable. A conversation is either memorable. A meal is either memorable or forgettable. So when you think about how do I make your stay, Blake, at my hotel memorable? Of course, the design and the art and the scent and the lighting, those are all things that make your experience holistic. But the way I make it memorable is to attend to your needs personally as an individual.
It reminds me of when you go to Mexico to an all-inclusive resort and you get your own butler. And I don't know if
Hmm.
you've probably been to these types, I'm sure you have, but like that type of service where anything you need, they're there to help you. They're sending you messages on WhatsApp. What advice do you have for companies where so much is outside of their control? And then what is in your control to create these memorable customer experiences?
Again, a lot of what I say will sound cliche and will sound easy to do. None of what I talk about is easy. We are in the people business, not only on the guest side, but also on the teammate side. And generally, these jobs tend to be sort of transition jobs. People don't come and become a doorman for life. They come and go. And some exceptions, by the way, in New York, a doorman is a very lucrative job. So it really truly all starts with hiring the right people. But what I often tell people is hiring someone and training them on the things is a transactional thing. It's a robotic thing. I literally can train a robot on how to do all the things, right? I've actually stayed in Tokyo in a hotel. We get checked in by a robot. It's kind of
Mm-hmm.
weird. It's the equivalent of basically checking in on a kiosk, but it happens to be a robot. So if you hire the right people, and generally I say, I can teach you any skill you need to be taught to actually do the things, but a hard thing to teach you is emotional intelligence. Yet we consistently forget to check when we are interviewing someone for their aptitude for emotional intelligence. And I often say our industry, I went to school for this, no offense, hotel people, Cornell, waste of time. You do not need a degree to run a hotel. It really is very simple. So two things I always look for: common sense, and as you know, very uncommon these days. But then this
Mm-hmm.
idea of emotional intelligence. What's your love language? Is it acts of service? You're a perfect employee, right? So it really just depends on who you hire and what you focus on when you train them. Because Blake, when I welcome you into the hotel, does it really matter to you how I say hello to you? Is it good afternoon? Is it hi? It doesn't matter. If I am genuine and you feel welcomed, then what I say is inconsequential. It's more about a feeling than memorizing a sentence. So, in short, I say my advice to all hoteliers is focus on the business you're in, and the business you're in is the feelings business, how you make someone feel when they walk through your door. And the way to accomplish that is to focus your efforts on hiring the right people with the right attitude and training them on the things that matter. Emotional intelligence, number one, number two, number three, everything else falls behind.
Bashar, so you post a lot to LinkedIn, and I recently was reading a post that you put up around some trends around sustainability, around new trends in luxury. What are some of the hottest trends for hospitality today that are exciting to you?
Maybe hottest and exciting to me aren't the same thing. I tend to be against the trend. I tell people whatever travel and leisure says the top 10 is, I'm not on my list. I discount them immediately. But it's interesting enough, you touched on the idea of butler, right? You talked about this a minute ago, about kind of going to Mexico with these resorts. And I sort of say, I watch human behavior, which takes decades to change, rather than trends, which are sort of moments in time. I was actually doing a public speaking engagement with a luxury brand, and we're talking about butlers. This brand has butlers. So I stopped the person talking mid-sentence. I said, whoa, 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 stop. I looked to the room full of people. I said, who here has ever seen a photo on social media of someone bragging about having a butler? Crickets. Who in this room has seen the photo of the button next to the bed that says press for champagne? Every hand went up. So this notion of a butler, I love that idea, and you touched on it also. That when I go to a resort in Mexico, my butler is a WhatsApp. It's not a person. Whoever is on the other end of that WhatsApp is my butler. So the idea is generationally, and certainly even older generations are becoming accustomed to immediate gratification,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't want the clunkiness and the formality. I mean, I talk a lot about going to a three Michelin star restaurant. Sure, I love that experience, but I'm not only going to go once because I can't give you 5 hours of my life for a meal. I want really good food really fast. So I think the trends clearly are immediate gratification. You cannot make me wait for anything. Number two, high quality. Like imagine a restaurant telling you today, "Oh, we're farm to table." Well, duh, you better be farm to table. I expect you to not be buying stuff frozen from Cisco. So a lot of what once was aspirational has
Yeah,
become everyday table stake. And we have to understand how to meet the customers where they are, not force them to come where we want them to come or give them what they think they want. So I think, in my opinion, the future of luxury is ultra personalization. I'll give you an example. I like my room at 64 degrees year round anywhere on the planet. I am top status on every hotel brand, whatever, like top status. You know what they say, 20% of your customers give you 80% of your business. You would think once at any of these places that claim to have huge databases and lots of people in their loyalty program would know this customer of ours likes their room cooler, so we're going to make it cooler for them before they arrive and take credit for it. And by the way, all that takes is 2 clicks from a computer from someone's desk. You don't actually have to go to the room to turn it down.
yeah,
Blake, not once.
you're right.
Thousands of hotel stays, not once. So the trends, in my opinion, are immediate gratification, ultra customization, and we can no longer fool customers. We can't greenwash the sustainability thing. We have to put our money where our mouth is. Otherwise, don't claim it. Don't say you're doing sustainable practice and not do it.
Right.
And I'm trying to sort of forgive the French. I'm trying to coin the term give a shit ability internally and externally.
Yeah.
So imagine you're applying for a job. You're coming to apply for a job with my hotel, which offers good pay, good benefits. It's a great hotel, et cetera, et cetera. But so does everybody else. So how do I give you a reason to care to choose me over my competitor? What's my ethos? What's my DNA? What practices do I engage in? Do I care about the world? Do I care about the environment? Do I care about my community? So all these things that once were sort of just talk, people now call you out on it. And similarly for a customer, there's lots of great hotels. Why am I choosing you over the next person? So it's sort of this brand that you put out in the world that has to resonate. I think people want more. They want a story and they want more that resonates with their values. Now, to be clear, I'm focusing largely on North America, different in Asia, different in the Middle East. Sometimes they want opulence for the sake of opulence. But I think we've evolved past this sort of formality of opulence, and now we want to feel like we belong. I use the example of Cheers a lot that's getting lost on generations now, the bar Cheers, the show.
Mm-hmm.
They never claimed to be the most award winning or the biggest wine list or any of that. They said where everyone knows your name, because fundamentally, that's really what matters. And I think we as an industry have strayed away from that concept.
So what you're talking about, the give a shit ability, I think most of us are used to going into any hotel, even in a nice hotel in Vegas. You're still waiting in line. You go up to the front desk. You have an apathetic front desk person. What are the tips to create these customer centric cultures where the employees really seem like they care, where they remember your name and they go sneak into your room before you arrive to make your room 64 degrees?
Um, Tough example in the Vegas example you used because at scale it's hard. Like you can't do this for 2,000 check-ins a day. I give my friends in Vegas a little bit of a break. It's just a machine there. But by and large, any other minus the Vegas or the Orlando or in any of those sort of big massive places, it's not about doing that kind of attention for every single customer. It really is about doing it for enough because then inertia takes over and it becomes sort of your ethos. But again, hire the right people, set the example for those people. Back to your point about why do you travel? Well, I travel because I can't bark orders from the palatial palace I might be sitting in at the employees in the field dealing with that crap every single day. It really isn't, there isn't a formula for it. It's about it's about setting the tone, practicing what you preach, hire right, hire right, hire right. Like I can't say that enough. The hardest thing to do in today's labor market,
Mm-hmm.
but again, I'll give you an example. We hotels do a mystery shop. So we hire a company and they send in Blake, and Blake has a list of 100 things she goes to check on. Did they use your name 3 times? Did they make eye contact when you opened the door? Did they? Check, 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 check. And I've come to the conclusion that I can ace that list and be the most miserable human you met. So we decided as a company to say, yes, we want to do the transactional because you still have to have some framework. It can't be a free for all wild, wild west. But we now intermix them with emotional based chops. So we'll send Blake with no questionnaire and we'll say, Blake, when you checked in, how did they make you feel?
Mm-hmm.
So you then understand if some people are acing the transactional and failing the emotional, terrible. And vice versa, you want a really good balance. But I all day long will take the emotional success over the transactional success So once you understand what's missing without this idea of robotic transactions, then you can act accordingly. But again, I will say it in nauseum. It is not easy. It all starts with hiring the right people, which is the hardest thing we can do for our industry today, particularly in a post-COVID world where a lot of people in this industry left it and went to other industries. So
Mm-hmm.
it's become really, really harder to find the right kind of talent.
Bashar, I recently was planning a Christmas vacation for my family, and I was looking on TripAdvisor at, again, Mexico, Cancun resorts. And one of the reviews, I was so shocked. It said, had such a bad experience at this resort. I had my wedding ring in my room and it was stolen by, you know, staff. And there was no
Sure.
response from the hotel. Reviews are tough. Anyone can say anything. What advice do you have for your customers that are dealing with tons of reviews that matter increasingly to a customer that's deciding where to stay?
We often bury our head in the sand, to your point, and hide. We want to wish them away. They're not going away. And they are on the internet, they will live forever. And by the way, I've been in the business for 30 years. I've never once, not one time in a hotel, found an employee guilty of actual theft.
Right.
So just to say, very rare, honest people in our industry, hardworking people. So I give them a lot of credit.
Yeah.
Our perspective on reviews is you must respond within 24 hours. Now, if I'm going to have a debate with you, don't do it. Do not do it online. Pick up the phone. So we encourage our people to pick up the phone. But my assertion, Blake, is that I will give you more credit as an establishment for a bad review that you've recovered from beautifully online than just a generic good review, 5 stars. So what? So the advice is do not hide from them, tackle them head on. Don't engage in a debate with the customer. I'll give you another analogy. Out of 100 people that walk through your door every day, 99 are honest, good, loving people. One is a shyster. They're gonna take it from you no matter how hard you try. So you
Mhm.
have two choices. You can either stand up at the desk with your suit and armor and boxing gloves on, trying to protect yourself from the one to the detriment of the 99, or stand there with open arms, welcoming the 99. And you know what? Let the one get away with it. It's the
Mhm.
cost of doing business. It is what it is. Because remember, by the time that issue gets to me, I'm saying, what's the worth and value of my time? You want a free room? Fine, I'll give you a free room. Now, I'm not suggesting that you blatantly do that for everyone. And by the way, the review companies, Google, TripAdvisor, etc., are on your side. If you can demonstrate that Blake never actually stayed there, this is fake, etc.,
Mhm.
they'll take it down.
Mhm.
It's complicated, but they will do it. But the simple answer to your question, tackle them head on. It's honestly like a marriage. Don't shove anything under the carpet. If you don't address it, it's going to pile up and pile up and pile up and create a bigger problem in the future. Deal with it head on. And by the way, if you screw up, again, we're taught to never accept failure or defeat. Accept it. Blake, I am really sorry. We screwed up. You're 100% right. We totally ruined your visit. I live in the Northwest. Nordstrom here is notorious for this idea that if you buy a pair of shoes and they don't work out and it's our fault, forget the fact that I will refund your money or give you a new pair of shoes. What's the value of your time to go through all that trouble? So they'll give you more just for that. We ignore that people's most valuable commodity is time, and we put them through hell at the end of the day to get what they need to get. So,
When I was 16, my dog ate my prom shoes, and I went back to Nordstrom just to show them, okay, I need to buy a new pair. And they just gave me a new pair. And my mom and I were so
no,
shocked. This was a
not
long
their
time ago.
fault. And the infamous story about someone brought tires and returned them back, and Nordstrom took them back, even though they don't actually sell tires.
Right.
That's sort of the urban myth, the urban tale that goes around, but they really are. And historically, war, it's changed now. Obviously, when it was family owned and controlled, it was different. But that's what makes those places memorable, not the shoe they sell. That actually is a perfect example as to how Nordstrom got your loyalty. Not because they sell good shoes, but because they know how to treat you right.
So, what do you tell your clients that they say, Bashar, we want to focus on service recovery? In theory, we understand this concept, but show me the money. What's the ROI of really good service recovery?
So again, it's somewhat nebulous, but Blake, who has a bad experience, whom I ignore, in today's world with the power of the internet, she could literally take away hundreds of customers from me who will never come because of her personal opinion. And we've become, as a culture, reliant on friends' recommendations more than anything because we don't trust anything we see on the internet. So if I'm going to go to Cancun, I'm going to text Blake and be like, Blake, where did you stay last? What hotel do you like? And Blake's going to say, oh my God, avoid the XYZ. It's a disaster. So the ROI is if you are a short-term owner and you're focused on flash in the pan, get in and get out, and that's generally what the big institutional owners are. They're like, I don't care about what happens 5 years from now. It's someone else's problem. I would have sold the hotel. And that's why you've seen a big migration towards the smallish lifestyle independent hotels because they were owner operated. The owners cared about them because they said, you know what, I'm going to be here 10 years from now. This is not a transaction for me. This is a passion. So you've seen it sort of proliferated that way. But I think brands at large understand the value of this now because it's big brand. Like if I have a bad experience at a Marriott, it's a Marriott problem, not that location's experience. But often, again, this sounds easy to your point. Owners who are, in fairness, strapped given what's happened in the last few years, they don't want to just hand out money frivolously. They want to make sure that it's being done right. And that's where the tension is. If I can, this is, by the way, the line I use. You're working for me at the front desk. I'll say, Blake, I want you to pretend you own this place. Because if you truly believe you owned it, you will never make the wrong decision. So when someone in front of you is complaining, you're saying to yourself, they're lying. I don't want to give them their money back. But then you're saying to yourself, the cost of not doing that and the unintended consequences, whether it's the online review or telling their friends, et cetera. So you kind of have to think long term for this to be effective. Otherwise, to your point, you're right. It's a ROI flash in the pan, not my problem. And we talk about this a lot, by the way, with repair. If you own a hotel and you knew you're not going to own it next year, you're going to paint that wall that has the leak on it to make the leak go away. You're not going to open up the wall and figure out why is that happening or is there a pattern. But if you're a long-term thinker, you're going to fix it right. So same analogy applies here in terms of service recovery.
Right. There's a lot to think about, it sounds like, and people are deciding, is this worth the investment to fix the hotel, to invest in my people? Let's just close with one last question about the people side. I love to talk about Trader Joe's because with all the automation in grocery, Trader Joe's, they always greet you. I don't know if you have Trader Joe's in Portland, but they're really
I do.
friendly and the people
Yeah.
are the
Yeah.
difference. So, in a
hmm
world where it almost feels like the human interaction, it just doesn't matter anymore. And when you have it, it's a little watered down. I mean, how do you create that genuine culture of caring?
I'm going to give you a quick example similar to what you're talking about with Trader Joe's here in the Northwest. There's a tire company, the most commodity of all commodities, getting your tires changed. Who cares? It's
Mhm.
called Les Schwab. And their thing, their shtick is as you're pulling up in your car, arriving at the store, you haven't parked yet, someone from inside will run, not walk, not mosey on over, not sashay over. They will run to you, to your window, and say, welcome, what are you here for? How can I help you? Okay, come park here. Let me take you inside. And that singular action, which seems so, it could be done superficially, it doesn't even have to be genuine, but the act of someone running towards you, showing you how invested they are in the service they want to provide you, has given them more market share. They're definitely not the cheapest, yet they're always packed. So, how do you do that? You could do it sort of, I don't know, top down and say, every time someone shows up, you must run, which will work in some extents, but not in every instance. I think at the end of the day, you said it. It's really creating a culture. And by the way, if I use this example a lot. If I tell you, Blake, who worked for me, the guest bathroom in the lobby must be spotless. I want to be able to eat off the floor. But your bathroom, the employee bathroom, can look like a war zone. Think about the message I'm sending you in that example, right?
Mhm.
That they matter, but you don't. And how are you gonna go serve someone when you think you don't matter? So I think it all starts from within, how you treat each other, how you treat your employees. Culture building isn't training, it isn't a checklist. It's a way of life you do every day.
Mhm.
And if you don't practice what you preach yourself, and if you're sitting in your corporate office barking orders down, and you're not down in the bowels of the building, shaking hands, learning employees' names, learning again their hopes, dreams, and aspirations, it'll never happen. So by the way, people hate the word cult because it has negative connotations, but cult is part of culture. So if you don't think that you're building a cult inside of your building for your employees to drink the infamous Kool-Aid or your customers to drink the infamous Kool-Aid, you got nothing. You're just a transaction. You're an employer and someone else offers me a penny more, I'm going next door. So we talk a lot about customer loyalty. We don't talk about employee loyalty. Again, it's hard because people come and go. So we focus more on guest loyalty than we focus on employee loyalty, sadly. And that's the one that really matters because guests come and go. But if you can keep the employees, less time training, less time onboarding, and less time having to start over every single time, essentially.
Mhm. Very well said. Very well said. Well, let's have a little fun before we let you go. Are you game for some rapid fire questions, Bashar?
I am fire away.
Okay. Firstly, what's the most important part of your morning routine?
Oh my God, coffee. I mean, I live in the Northwest and it can be any coffee, like coffee, coffee. I'm on my fifth cup already. It's like 11 a.m. here.
Yeah, cool. What
And sadly, hotels, by the way, bad coffee in the rooms
I know,
always.
right?
It drives me
It's so
crazy.
gross. And the machines always look dirty.
Oh,
Uh,
do not, another conversation for another day.
all right. What do you do to relax at the end of a hectic day?
Book a trip. I am truly a neurotic traveler. Like there's the fear of not having any trips booked. So I'm often find myself booking trips. Spend time with my family, obviously, but travel truly is my oxygen.
All right. Well, let's sneak some travel rapid fire in here. Favorite airline?
Was Delta for a minute. Unfortunately, they're messing with us. They're frequent flyers. So I am now an Alaska devotee, which happens to obviously dominate the market I'm in. So Alaska Airlines domestically.
Favorite place to visit?
The world,
Oh.
60 countries and counting. I don't go to the same place twice if I can help it. There are lots of countries to explore.
Favorite meal?
Cuisine or meal ever?
We could say both.
I mean, look, I've eaten and please forgive the brag, everyone. I've eaten at Noma and 11 Madison and French Laundry and all that. My favorite meal, I'm not super religious, but if I were to pick a prophet, it'd be Anthony Bourdain. Like one of my favorite, most memorable meals in the last couple of years is sitting on the sidewalk in Hanoi, Vietnam, eating pho soup with a really, really good friend. So to kind of take a page from Bourdain's book.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. Did you say your favorite meal and your favorite type of cuisine? So is it Vietnamese?
Uh, Type of cuisine, I'm Middle Eastern by heritage, so anything from that part of the world, Middle Eastern, Indian, sort
Yeah.
of that Asian, the Silk Route, we'll call it, Silk Road, from Greece to China and everything in between.
Oh, that's a cool answer. Okay. What is one mental health strategy for managing hard days?
Uh, Understanding the fact in my business that we are not saving lives, and whatever I'm working on this moment can wait till tomorrow or the day after, having the confidence and the determination to walk away. I walk away.
Okay. If you could have lunch with anyone dead or alive, who would it be?
um, Mother Teresa.
If you had to describe your outlook in one quick motto, what would it be?
Oh, my motto is lead, follow, or get the hell out of the way.
Great. All right. Well, if people want to learn more about you and your services, Bashar, what's the best way to do that?
I am literally on every channel you want. Pick it, and you'll be surprised. Yes, I'm on that too. Wink, wink. I have a website called hotelier.life that has all my contact infos, all my company, all my social handles. So hotelier.life.
Bashar, thank you so much for doing this. I've learned so much. I hope you'll come back, and I'm just so excited for you for all of your global travel.
Thank you so much for having me, and lovely chatting with you.
Everybody, you've been tuning into the Modern Customer Podcast. Until next time. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel or follow me on social media, including Instagram, LinkedIn, X, and more.